What's up, heroes? My name is Rick. I am one of the Morning Hero coaches, and I am excited to welcome you to a three-part series that we are going to be doing on the power of no. So let me share my screen and let's get going. All right, so if you don't know me, I am a commercial real estate agent by day and a coach and motivational speaker in the evenings and weekends, and I love both. I love being a husband and a dad. Special shout out and welcome to all of the morning heroes. Love you guys. So, as I said, today we're going to talk about the power of saying no. And this is really the way for you to hit the easy button, make your life better with, isn't it kind of a funny little word? It's this tiny little word, just two little scribbles, but so powerful. Think about little kids. What's one of the first words they learn? No. And that's like their first time they claim power is learning, oh, I can say no. And of course, as you know, toddlers, once they say no, that becomes candy to them. They just run around, no, 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 no. So I love the enthusiasm that kids have for saying no. So we're going to talk this week about the power of saying no, and it's based on this book from Amazon, The Art of Saying No, by Damon Zahariades. And I really like this book because it's very short. If you read it, if you listen to it on Audible, it's only about 2.5 hours. If you read it, you can read it in a few hours. If you have the Kindle Reader or you have an Amazon Prime account, I believe, and who knows when down the road with this video, but if it's not free, it's very inexpensive. So if you feel at all like you are, you struggle with being the nice person, are you the person that people are always asking to help them move or do a favor, cook for them, watch their kids? You're the person that always gets the um, the short end of the stick at work or in your volunteer organization. You're the one that's being recruited on everyone's committees. If you're the person that really struggles with this is a really great tool and very practical because it gives you kind of step by step guide on how to do it and where to go with it. So this is going to be a three-part series. This is the first video, and on this video we're going to talk about why you should say no. And then in the next two videos we'll go over actually saying no, where you should say no, the act of doing, and then finally I want to end this series with how do you say no and not be a jerk? You don't want everyone to think, oh man, that guy's such an a-hole. He won't help you with anything. Man, you're toast. Don't ask him for anything. So how do you say no without people? I literally have watched people in the store um, at least two or three times in my life where someone has held the door open for the person coming behind them. The person walked through and didn't say thank you, and then the first person under their breath muttered a curse word, a-hole, b, at the person for not saying thank you. So um, it's okay to say no. It's probably good to say no. How do you say no without being a jerk? All right, so we're going to do a little bit of an imaging quest first. So I want you, wherever you are, assuming you're not driving, to close your eyes. And we're going to go through a little scene. So imagine you're on an airplane. You've got preferably a smaller child with you, whether it's your own child, a niece, a nephew, a grandchild, a neighbor's kid, someone under, let's say, like 7 years old, someone relatively small. You're cruising along. All of a sudden, you hear a loud boom. The plane jerks really hard and starts nosediving. There's screaming and chaos in the cabin. Smoke starts to fill the cabin. It starts getting really hard to breathe, and those masks drop down out of the ceiling. The child next to you on your right, you're in the middle seat, and the child on your right just starts screaming, "Help me. I can't breathe. Help me." You fumble for the mask. You can barely see, but you feel it. You grab it, You can't breathe yourself. You struggle. The kid is clawing at you because he or she is in a panic, and you try to get that cup over their face to get them the oxygen they need. As you're struggling to do this because of all the smoke and the lack of oxygen in the cabin, you lose consciousness. You collapse. And your last thought is, did I even get the mask on the child that I was with? All right, so keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to rewind the clock to that point of decision when you reached up for that mask. We all know what they say when they're doing the pre-flight introduction for us. Put on your own mask before you help those around you. Man, doesn't that make you feel like a jerk? I remember the first time I heard that when I was a little kid, I thought, what kind of jerk would my parent be to put on their own mask when I'm their kid and I can't breathe? So let's go back to that point of decision. The child next to you screaming, crying in terror, hyperventilating. So they're using their oxygen even faster than you, clawing at you. But you fend them off with one arm, grab the mask. Just as you're about to go unconscious, you get the mask over your own face. You take one deep breath. Okay, at least now you can breathe. Your head clears a little bit. You look over. The child on your right is slumped over, passed out. So you pull the kid up. You force the mask over their face. Check to see that they're breathing. They're still breathing. Get the mask fitted. Then you look over on your left, and that elderly man that you were chatting with, he's slumped over in his seat. You reach up, you grab the mask. You gently pull him up and fit the mask over him. You hear him, he's been choking, he starts to breathe. Your head clears a little bit. The people on either side of you, they're still out of it, but they're breathing. The plane starts to level out. Now you're a hero. You just saved 2 people. That's the power of saying no. Obviously, you can open your eyes now. That's an extreme example of why you would want to say no. Because you have to take care of yourself before you can properly take care of other people. So let's do a little bit of a journaling exercise. I want you to grab your pen and paper. This is going to be a working presentation today. If you're driving or you're somewhere where you can't actually put pen to paper, I would recommend coming back and actually doing this as a writing exercise later, but I'm going to talk you through it. So I want you to start by thinking in your own life, when do you have the most trouble saying no? I want you to think about whether it's at church, in a community organization, it's with your friends. Maybe you live in an apartment and you're the one everybody comes to when they need something fixed. Or you're a computer person. And anytime any person has trouble, you do computers all day, but then you get home and man, your family, your neighbors, everybody's calling you, hey, my computer won't boot. Can you come look at it? Is it at work? Are you the person whose desk everybody stops by when they have an extra project? Are you the person everybody emails? Hey, you're really good at finding those documents. Can you find this document for me? Where do you have the most trouble in your life saying no? I'll give you one more minute just to think it through. right, if you're like me, you probably came up with multiple areas. I know for me it was, especially this starting this year, I'm a Rotarian, but I also started getting really busy in my job. And Rotary, because I'd had a lot of free time before, I was asked and also volunteered to be on everybody's committees. So I had all of these committee meetings, what we're all doing, the Zoom meetings, constant Zoom meetings all the time. And then also, I know in my own relationship with my wife, sometimes I get to the point where I get in my head, I'm the man, I'm the husband. When the rubber meets the road, we're partners, but if it comes down to her or me having to do something, I'm going to take the hit because that's my job. So I have a very hard time saying no to my wife. So the idea is just to come up with these situations. It's not about judgment, whether you should or not, whether you feel good or bad about it. Where do you have trouble saying no? Where do you always say yes? Now we're going to go on to the second question. How do you feel when you don't say no? How do you feel when you say yes even though you don't want to? What kind of thoughts come up? Do you get frustrated? Do you feel like a jerk? Do you feel angry? Do you feel resentful? Take 1 minute and really just focus in on what those feelings are. All right. One of the responses I hear the most when we talk about this is, yeah, I feel resentful. I feel angry. I start to curse the people under my breath. So be really aware of what those feelings are. Now we're going to go on to the third question. What does it cost you? This is really the meat and potatoes. So last week, if you're part of the Morning Hero program, we did a whole reignite session on what's your vision? What is your big vision? And really, when it comes down to cost, for most of us, the cost is in our time. And when you say yes to something by force because you have limited amount of time, you have to say no to something else. So if you're saying yes to everybody else's priorities, what are you saying no to? What does it cost you? What is it preventing you from doing? And it could be something big, like I'm not able to go do the art that I love, that's my dream. And it could be something small, like, I spent the weekend helping my friend move, but man, I was exhausted. I needed that time to rest and recharge. And then Monday comes and I'm not on my A game because I didn't get my time to rest and recharge. So what does it cost you? I'll give you 1 more minute. All right, what does it cost you? I know for me, one of my big goals this year is to earn $500,000, which is way more than I've ever earned in my life. But if I'm spending time, and this is what I had to do with Rotary, if I'm going to all of these Rotary meetings, it literally is costing me money because that's the time when I need to be prospecting. So I love Rotary, but I had to back out of a lot of my committee assignments this year. Final question. This is really the key. Why did you say yes? Why did you say yes? You knew in your head when the person came to you and asked you for that favor, you knew you didn't have time. You knew it wasn't your priority. My favorite is, or one of my favorites, is when you're walking down the street and a panhandler asks you for some money. Why do you give them money? Is it because you really care about people, which is great? That's awesome. Or is it because you want to look good in front of the people around you? Is it because you in your head need to maintain your own cognition of who you are? Is it because it makes you feel good and you're doing it for yourself? Why do you say yes when you don't want to? Let's give you one more minute to contemplate that. All right. So why did you say yes? I had mentioned at the start of this that one of the places I have trouble saying no is to my wife, which, let's be frank, that's not a bad thing in general. But if I'm saying yes to my wife, and this has happened before, she's even called me out on this. If I say yes and yes and yes and yes when I'm feeling no and no and no, she says, "Can you take care of the baby for a few minutes? Can you go take care of this errand? Can you go take care of this chore?" And the resentment's building up inside of me. And then all of a sudden, boom, I explode. This horrible monster gets unleashed, and everything I've been frustrated about for the past day, week, month, year just comes out in this ugly, nasty torrent. And my wife later, this has happened 2 or 3 times, she said, "You can't bottle that inside. If you have a problem with something, just tell me." I'm not doing my wife any favors by saying yes when maybe I need some recharge time, even if it's for 5 minutes. If I'm going to resent her, if I'm going to get angry at her, that's not going to help. And the reason I say yes is I have it ingrained in my head. To have a good marriage, I have to say yes to my wife. What is your reason that you're saying yes? Now, when you think about it, it's probably counterintuitive. So for me, if I explode and I unleash this vitriol at my wife, that's not going to make our time any stronger. That's not going to make my time with my wife and my relationship any stronger. So think about why you say yes. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up with the guy who just appeared on the screen. This is Jarvis. I want to introduce you to this guy. We call Jarvis the morning hero, and he has changed my life. How you doing, Jarvis?
What's up? What's up? Hi. Hello,
Your
everyone.
timing could not have been more perfect. So if you want to change your life, if you want to do something new, if you have goals that you're not achieving, this guy has a system. And I want you to go to themorninghero.com and check it out. Jarvis, what's a quick elevator pitch for why people should come check out your website?
Hey, listen, willpower doesn't work. Self-motivation doesn't work. self-accountability doesn't work. At some point, it'll fail you. You'll fail yourself. You'll let yourself down. It just ends in frustration. The only hack, the only way to get around it is when you create an environment where other people hold you accountable. It's the magic sauce of life. Outside accountability forces us to rise far above and beyond what we even think we're capable of doing, what we will give ourselves credit for doing. When we have to show up for other people, we tend to show up consistently. And so that's what the Morning Hero is. It's an outside accountability program where you get a group of people to cheer for you, coach you, and push you every day to go beyond what you can do for yourself.
Man, that's amazing. Completely unplanned, but perfect timing. All right. Thanks for coming and joining us, everyone, on this first of the 3 series. We'll see you in the next one.